Hey there, welcome to day 19 of the Get Up and Go Challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. AF. Kind of a funny story around this. AF. I was on the internet, being a little bit older. Things change all the time, right? And I kept seeing people write something AF, capital AF. And I'm like, what the heck does this mean? I have no idea what it means. So what does anyone do when they don't know what something means? They either ask their kids who weren't around or they Google it. So I Googled AF, and much to my surprise, it stood for something that probably at my age, I don't need to be using as an expression, and so I don't want to. But today I thought it would get people's attention. AF stands for as something with a four-letter F word that, we don't always need to say. Sometimes we do, but it's not appropriate for our Get Up and Go challenge. So A really stands for action, right? The A in our SOAP framework stands for action, taking action. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do based on what we've done so far? We're going through the SOAP framework. We've talked about our situation, where we are and where we want to be. We've talked about, that's our S. We've talked about options. Yesterday we brainstormed options, and we made a list of, we didn't brainstorm yesterday, we made a list of 10 possible options. So I made a list of, like everybody else, I actually made 17. I quit at 17 because I got doing stuff with the kids and went for a nice, long, very cold walk. It's starting to get cold in Wisconsin already. So I made a list of 17, and of those 17, I picked 3. Now, I'm not sure that I actually wrote the 3 under the homework thread on the private group page, but I will do that. I will do that because I've got them in my book. I've got them in my notebook. That's the good thing about keeping a book specifically for this. I have access to my homework because I'm doing it right along with you. So, of those 3, we're going to use those 3 for today's action, how to take action, how to do homework. And we're going to use my absolute positive favorite tool of all time. Why? Because my dad taught me this. My dad taught me this when my sisters and I were little girls. I've known it for so long, I don't even know or remember what age he taught us it, because I think he taught it to us before we could even write, before some of us could even write. Maybe my oldest sister could write, but the rest of us not so much. So he first taught us to do this in our head, and then of course my father was the king of, you got to write it down. You got to write your goals down. You have to write things down to make them real. And which is really funny coming from my dad, if you knew him. So he taught us what is simply, I think, the simplest, easiest problem-solving decision-making tool on the planet. And all you do is you take a piece of paper. I'm just going to show on a little bitty Post-it note because it's quick and easy. I like to fold it in half. You can draw a line down the middle, but to me, it's just as easy to fold it in half. Then you take a writing device of some sort and you draw a line down the middle. You put a plus on one side and a minus on the other. Now, for extra credit, you can write what is the situation, the problem, the thing you want to make a decision about on the paper as well. So let's say I want to make, for me, financially, I'm going through this. I want to look at my list, and my overall objective is $3,000 a month. So that's my overall objective, right? This is my financial want for right now. It's $3,000 a month, plus or minus. So now I can take each of the 3 things that I came up with yesterday, and I can do a plus or minus little quick notes about what are the pros of doing this thing and what are the cons of doing this thing. So let's look at my list. One was be a challenge coach. Well, what are the pros, pluses of being a challenge coach? I've been doing it for years. I already know how to do it. It's easy for me. I'm good at it. I've got a lot of people that I've helped being a challenge coach for. What are the negatives of doing it? Well, I have to be available on people's schedules and when they want to be coached. I have to interact with other people on a regular basis. I have to know that I can support and help them. And I know all these things, but what are some negatives? Well, I'm gonna have to spend my time and energy doing it. And so we want to do that. And I don't care how many pluses and minuses you come up with for each thing. It's up to you. It's a tool that you use, and you use it in the way that works for you. So I might be able to say, let's see what's one on here. I put monetize monthly challenges or a challenge mastermind. What are some of the pluses and minuses of doing a mastermind? I guess being a challenge coach, how much money can you make with each thing? How many people would I need to coach in order to make $3,000 a month? How many people would I need in a mastermind in order to make $3,000 a month, that might be a consideration. And maybe that alone would be the deciding factor for me, how many people I want to interact with on a regular basis. I could do a group coach too. I could do a group coaching situation, which would probably be what I would do to maximize my ability to help more people and save more time. So a positive as it can help more people takes, and a positive that takes less time. So what we want to do is we want to look at each of your 3 things that you picked and do a quick and dirty plus or minus for. What are the pros of doing that? What are the cons of doing that? And then we're going to narrow it down. So our tool today is plus and minus, right? Doesn't get any easier than that. Plus or minus of the option that you're looking at, plus or minus of the situation that you're looking at, plus or minus of the decision that you have to make. You can use this for things as simple as, where am I going to go out to eat tonight? Get a group of friends together. Nobody can decide. There's 8 of you. Back in the days when we could go out to eat, there's 8 of you, right? And nobody can decide. Nobody will make a decision and a choice of where to go to eat. So you pick 3 restaurants and everybody shouts out the plus and minus of going to each of these different restaurants. Boom, one gets decided upon and you go there and you have an awesome meal. But you can use this for absolutely anything. I actually used this to decide if I was going to marry my husband or not. Now, mistake, turns out I shouldn't have because we got divorced, but I actually used it. And then he found it. I don't know how he found it, but he found it and got really mad one day because he saw some of the minuses. And I'm like, hey, just being honest, I call him like I see him. And we were married for 25 years, so I guess it wasn't horrible, but there were definitely some mistakes along the way in my plus and minuses sheet on that particular situation. So use this today. Use this tool. Put this tool in your toolbox if you haven't already, because it's a easy, quick and dirty, concrete way to make a better decision than just going instinctively and just, haphazardly just making choices and going with the whatever happens to come your way. It's a lot better than no strategy at all. And it's actually way more powerful than it seems. It's so simple. You're like, how could this possibly help me make choices or decisions? How could this possibly make my life better? But it absolutely positively does. And you're not always going to be able to sit down and write it down, right? But you can't always do this in your mind really, really quickly. And most of the decisions and choices we make, they're overwhelmingly one way or the other, but there's some factor on one side or the other we're giving more emphasis to. And by actually considering it gives emphasis to the things that are really a priority to us, the things that are important to us. So that is our challenge today. Share in the comments below the one thing that you're committed to do to achieve the area that you're working on in your life. Remember, we're doing physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, contribution, or relationships. I am doing financial this time through the SOAP framework. Whatever you're doing, share the one thing. We're a smart group. We'll be able to figure out what you're talking about, what area of your life you're talking about. Even though areas overlap, if you just share, this is what I'm committed to doing. And why do I want you to do that? I don't care what you're committed to doing. I just care that you commit to doing something. And by sharing it in the comments, you're not only committing to yourself, but you're committing to other people, whether we agree or not, or read it or not. You're putting it out in the universe. It's like writing things down. It makes them more concrete and real, and you're more likely to follow through and actually do it and hold yourself accountable to it. I found that whenever I have a big goal that I'm scared to do, I announce it somewhere publicly and write it down. And I've never to this day let myself off the hook once I've said it out loud. And I don't even know if anyone was ever listening, but I just believe that once I put it out there in the universe, then I have to hold myself accountable to and committed to doing that. All right, have an awesome day. Any questions, hit me up in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow with the P. Let me grab another soap. I have soap everywhere. With the P in our, I pointed to the S, with the P in our SOAP framework. Have an amazing day, and I'll be with you tomorrow. Bye. Don't use AF if you don't have to.